let's build another gaming PC. So if you guys are interested in buying this PC once it's all said and done, it will be for sale on our website at tronixpcs.wixsite.com. I'll leave a link to it down in the description below if you guys are interested. So for the CPU, I went with an Intel Core i3-9100F. This is a 4-core, 4-thread CPU. You can pick them up for around $50-60, and they offer pretty decent performance for that price. For RAM, I'm going with Patriot Viper. This is 8 GB of 2666 MHz RAM. We got 2 sticks here. Pretty slow RAM, but again, it gets the job done. And for a little bit of a lower end budget CPU like this, that's perfectly fine. For the motherboard, we went with an Asus Prime B360M-A. This was a really great motherboard back in its prime. But it has all your basic features and is a really great motherboard for something like an i3 or i5 non-overclockable CPU. For fans, I just went with a basic black 120mm RGB fan for an exhaust. And for the intake fan, I went with 3 Aerocool 120mm RGB fans. They are just in this Enermax box. They're not actually Enermax fans. And those will pair nicely with our Aerocool case. Now, for storage, I went with an Intel 240GB SSD. Really great performance, pretty fast SSDs, and for all our big files like games and things like that, I'm throwing in 2 750GB laptop hard drives. So the reason I'm going with laptop drives is because I'm not sure where the hard drive cage went for this case. This is actually my own personal case that I used to have for my PC. So I'm going to have to throw these little hard drives in the SSD slots. For the power supply, now this is definitely a little overkill. I'm going with a Corsair RM850X power supply. Now there's a few reasons I like to put really high-end power supplies in more budget, lower-end gaming PCs. One is they are sometimes fully modular and semi-modular. This one is fully modular, and that's just really nice for cases like this which don't have a ton of cable management space. It just keeps the back of the case a lot cleaner. Also, they're a lot more reliable, and they have a lot more wattage. Obviously, this is an 850 watt, so the customer that buys this PC, if they ever want to upgrade it down the road, they have a ton of headroom with this power supply. For the CPU cooler, I'm just doing an Intel stock cooler. There's not really any reason to run anything bigger on this type of CPU. It's not overclockable, it's really low wattage, so an Intel stock cooler would be perfectly fine for it. And for the GPU, I went with a Gigabyte GTX 1660 OC. So really solid GPU. I just benchmarked this thing, and you can get really great performance out of these cards, and I think that'll pair pretty well with our i3-9100F. So let's get into the build.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it turns out that unfortunately this Corsair power supply is dead, will not work, and so I ordered a new power supply, so we'll have to wait a few days for that to get here, install that in the system, and hopefully it should work. Alright then, so it has been a couple of days and the power supply finally came in. I just decided to go with something simple, which is the EVGA 500 watt power supply. This is 80 plus, and unfortunately it is not modular, so cable management is definitely going to be a little bit more difficult, but there is a decent amount of space in the basement of this case, so we should be able to stuff some cables in there and throw some zip ties on it, and everything should be good. So I'm going to get this installed, and hopefully now the PC should boot up just fine. So I'm now running Call of Duty Cold War. We are running on absolutely maxed out settings. Everything as high as it can go, except for ray tracing, of course. Obviously this is a GTX card and not an RTX card, so ray tracing will absolutely tank the performance on this thing if you do decide to turn that on. But without ray tracing, this game does look really good, and we are getting high 70s to low hundreds as far as the FPS goes, with everything maxed out here, which is really solid. Also, the FPS seems to be really stable. The game is running really smooth. There's no like random dips or hitches here and there. It's just a solid, smooth 70 to 100 FPS, and it feels really good. Also, the system is running really quiet. You can barely hear the fans going in there. And it's also running really cool. The GPU right now is about hitting a max of 62 degrees Celsius, running this game on the highest settings, which is really good temps and really good noise levels here as well. So guys, like I said, this PC is for sale on our website. I'll leave a link to it down in the description below if you guys want to go check it out for yourselves. I hope you guys enjoyed this PC build. This one was pretty fun. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.